And I'm going to hit the record button. Okay, setting up your meeting.
Got it.
Loading. Ah, here we are.
Did it work? It always surprises me.
I know it's hit or miss sometimes, I'll be honest. I think we are live. Looks like the live chat is going, and let's just wait for a few people to pop in. Hello, everyone.
And we can all look at your beautiful background there.
Oh, yes,
I can
everyone.
see the pine trees.
I'm in Lake Tahoe and I'm lakeside. I found a reservation for a couple of nights at Meeks Bay Resort, I think is what
Wow.
it's called. And it's so rejuvenating.
Oh, it is. It is. I got away over the weekend and loved it.
Oh, where'd you go?
I went down to a harvest house.
Oh,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, okay. It looks like we've got some people in
We
here, so
got
we'll
some
go ahead.
people.
We got some people. I'll introduce myself. My name's Alyssa Chartier, or as my team members call me, Alyssa C. And I am the senior social media specialist at Harvest Host, Campers Card, Camp Scanner, all of these fun new products that we've been putting out lately. And I'm going to turn it over to Janine. Janine works at Girl Camper. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm just a girl who likes to camp, honestly, Alyssa. It was Girl Camper became what it is because I just really wanted to share my love of camping. And I was married to someone who didn't like to camp at all. And I knew that was never going to change. And then it occurred to me one day, like, why don't I just go anyway? And then I got a couple of girlfriends and we all started going. And then I joined every like solo woman travel group out there. And I started writing a blog about, safety mainly because I grew up in a camping family and I knew a lot about hitching and towing and those kinds of things. And I saw women really struggling and I started writing that. And Go RVing came along and said, who's this crazy like woman who's just out there like championing the whole world to get out and go camping? And I started writing for them, and I can't believe that is like 10 years ago now. And yeah, I think maybe it wasn't that long. It was like in 2014, like 9 years ago.
Oh.
And so I started writing a blog for them, and then I started a podcast, and then I started Girl Camper magazine. And then we started Girl Camper chapters across the country. So now we've got about 450,000 women in our Girl Camper Facebook group and 30 Girl Camper chapters across the country with hostesses and guides who host events. So after we inspire you to go camping, we want to create opportunities for you to do it with people who will have your back and help you and mentor you and teach you and hold your hand until you feel confident. And so anyway, never imagined going down this big road and running a business at my age. I thought I'd be doing something completely different, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I love that. It's so crucial to get that local community aspect. That's one of the things we love at Harvest Hosts. It's local growth at a national level, right? You're helping
Mm-hmm.
people at the grassroots, but you've also got that assistance kind of at the top should anyone need anything, which is wonderful.
Yeah, very much like Girl Camper.
Love it. Let's dive in. I see we've got some viewers here. If you have any questions specifically around traveling, solo travel, drop them in the chat. You have an expert on the line right now. Janine is at your disposal.
Oh, God. Oh.
Let's dive right in. So my first question for you is, as a solo traveler, sometimes, what are some of the advantages you find in boondocking at Harvest Host or at other locations? Like, tell us a little bit about the different locations that you might travel as
Mm-hmm.
a solo female traveler and what to look out for there.
Well, you know what? I have never been one of those people who is comfortable sleeping in a Walmart parking lot or a Cracker Barrel. I know some people are, they got a big dog or something. I sleep with one eye open all night long. So that is just like, I don't sleep well, so I don't do it. And I, I think people are safe there. I mean, But for me, what I loved about Harvest Host is that the locations are vetted, that there's a person on the ground there. I was just in one over the weekend, and they were waiting for me to get there before they went home, and I thought that was so sweet. Yeah, I was late. I said I'd be there at 3 and I didn't get there till 4:15, and they closed at 4, the winery, and they were waiting for me. So I like the idea that that the location I'm at has been vetted. There's people there. I'm not sleeping with one eye open. And so, like, I don't think that camping is inherently an unsafe thing. You almost never hear stories. I mean, the statistics are they don't even register in terms of crime at campgrounds. So I don't feel unsafe, but for me, it's a question of the quality of sleep that I get, just listening. So I just choose a Harvest Host over a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Even camping in Walmart parking lots with my partner, you always kind of get that vague sense that someone could be looking in through the curtains at any
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, I close everything really tight.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's just try not to think about it. Just get some sleep before you move on to the next location.
Well, I've done it with a group. Like, say we've got part of the fun of Girl Camper is getting there. So if we have 6 or 8 women and we're caravanning from New Jersey, like down to Southern Virginia, and we're picking up girls along the way at rest stops, someone's waiting for us. And now we have a caravan of 6 or 8 people going. Now, if we all pull into a Walmart overnight, I'm fine in a crowd. But, it is just something to be thinking about.
What, kind of speaking of safety and all of that, what are some things that you've purchased or some measures that you've taken over the years to feel safer in your camper?
Well, first of all, I'm just really aware of my surroundings. So I'm not one of these people who gets in the truck with the camper behind me and says, "Let's figure out where we're going to be tonight." I have a plan when I go. I know when I leave where I'm going to be that night. So barring any flat tires or car problems, I know where I'm going to be. So when I'm choosing a location, maybe like a Harvest Host or even a campground, I am way not above. Like, I really read reviews. I'll read all the reviews, and a lot of times you'll see beautiful pictures, but then when you read the reviews, you might hear a different story, good or bad. Like, you can glean a lot from reading the reviews. Like the Harvest House I was in last weekend, when I was reading the reviews about the place, because I just wanted to sneak away, and when I read the reviews, a lot of people said that the host was nice enough to give them 30 amp power. And I'm like, wow, that, they don't have that written in there, I guess, because maybe if they had too many people come or whatever. But so you can glean a lot from the reviews. I'm also a person who feels no shame going on Google Earth and Googling that address so I could see what is going on all around it. So, like, I know ahead of time, where I'm going, and always try to arrive before dark. I never like to get someplace after it's dark because I like to look around. I like to do a walkabout and know where I am and who's around me. So I always try to arrive before dark.
Oh, wow, I agree with that. Even outside of a safety perspective, getting set up in the dark is so fun. It's I usually,
Bad things can happen.
yeah.
That's where you walk into the hitch and hit your shin. Yeah.
And then it's just over for there. You're
Yeah.
catatonic for the
Yes.
rest of the night. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So my next question is, when you're planning and stuff, you kind of talked a little bit about selecting locations, looking on Google Earth, all of that stuff. Are there any specific factors that you consider when you're looking for a boondocking location or a Harvest Host location?
Well, it depends on what the mission is. Now, sometimes when I'm just getting from point A to point B, I'm towing my trailer. Let's say I'm going from New Jersey to Alabama, and I know I can't make that in one day. Then what I'm looking for in a campsite or boondocking or harvest host is different. I want to be close to the highway. I want easy in, easy out. I don't want to feel obligated to attend maybe a music festival that's going on or something. I just want in and out. A lot of times I travel to a destination, like I just got to get there. When I'm coming home, I like to leave myself a day or two to wander. Then I'm
Mm.
more likely to get on a back road and try a new place. And then I'm a little more interested in what's going on. And I don't care if it's not right on the highway.
I really love that. Coming back sort of leisurely, and it
Right.
gives you a little bit of space to decompress before you hit work again as well.
Right. And you're kind of taking in like all the experiences that you had. And I feel like those maybe 2 days or 3 days it takes me to get home solidify like all the good I just got from that camping trip. If you fly home from any destination, I mean, you're reading your email on the plane, you're taking calls from the airport. There's no reentry. I mean, it's boom, you're in. And so I kind of like to go home the leisurely route and just recap all the things in my mind and maybe get a couple more days out of it.
Hmm. I really like that. And it's kind of an unexpected thing that you get when you're RV camping, right? It is. I used to live in Atlanta. I'm full-time now. And we flew out of Hartsfield Jackson. We would fly in and out of Hartsfield Jackson, which is, I don't know if anyone on this live has gone through at the Atlanta airport, but it is a really jarring
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, yeah.
So, but we haven't found that as much now that we hit the road. We're able to kind of sit and
Hmm.
contemplate, like you're saying, and it kind of allows that decompression time. It's a little bit less difficult coming back from something.
Well, even the RV equivalent of a congested airport to me is like coming home on a Sunday night. Like I live in New Jersey and I love to camp in New England, but I cannot deal with the bridges on Sunday coming through New York. So, I try to stay over on Sunday night and then I'll go the big loop out around the Tappan Zee Bridge to avoid the city and just not have everything I gained on that weekend evaporated in mind numbing traffic when you're coming home. So,
Even on the Tappan Zee, it's still a stressful drive. I feel you.
well, it's funny because when I'm out west camping, it just feels so vast. Everything seems so huge. And we here on the East Coast, like, our South Dakota girls, like they're like, okay, who wants to go to Kansas this weekend? They don't think anything of getting in the truck and car and towing their camper 6 hours to meet somebody because it's all open highway and it's clear and there's none of that congestion. It's just driving. I wouldn't drive 6 hours for a weekend in New England to save my life. So, but that is kind of the cool thing about Harvest Host. Like I joined in 2017. And when I initially joined, I thought I'll just use this on my way to where I'm going. Right. But now I'm learning this from all my friends out west. They're like, oh gosh, no, that is the destination. And all our Western girl campers, they're like Harvest Host members in that they'll pick a winery and they'll all go there on Saturday night. They'll call the owner and go, can you give us 4 spots? And I see their pictures and then there's like music and lights and everybody's having a great time. And then they sleep there. And that is the destination. And I'm like, oh, I got to start this.
And I love this idea. There are so many spots with multiple
Yeah.
parking areas. So it bringing your friends, or even if you have friends that haven't done RV camping before or don't own a camper, take them with you.
Hmm.
It's an easy weekend. It's not terribly difficult to, if you've got an extra bed or if you have them sleep
Hmm.
on the floor, kind of give them that experience. It's a fun way to get away without spending a lot of money, especially as we go into the summer.
I
Well,
think that's so true because if you're out at the winery, like here, really an average camping space in New England, in New Jersey on the East Coast is like $80. And so when you think, well, I'm going to eat and drink anyway, so let me give that $80 to have great food and festive drink and be with all my friends, and it's just really, really fun.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Now I want to get my girlfriends out and do the same thing. I'm trying to convince more of my peers to buy campers so we can all go out together, but they're like,
Yeah.
you mean you want to camp? You want me to camp 24/7? I'm like, no, that's not the case. It's fun. It's
No, just give it a try though. It's a great weekend getaway.
exactly. Angela and Derek Russell asked Canada. Yes, Canada. We do have
Woo!
locations in Canada, especially our sister company, Boondockers Welcome. Boondockers Welcome was founded in Canada, so we have a lot of presence up there. The list can be found on the main pages of both websites, harvesthost.com. You scroll down, there's a page, boondockerswelcome.com. You scroll down, there's a map. And if you join, you can see the locations. The reason that we don't release the locations is to ensure that the hosts aren't overwhelmed with bookings outside of the website. That's the only reason that we do it that way. Back to it. Let me know if you have any more questions, drop them in the chat. Have you ever encountered any challenges or concerns while you were solo RVing?
People ask me this all the time, and there's only two incidents that come to mind. And one was when I was boondocking, not with the Harvest Host, but on BLM land out in Arizona. So one of the girl camper, I had never done that before, and I just flew out there and I rented an RV and I started just combing all around the Lake Havasu area in January. It was so beautiful. Snowing in New Jersey, like in the 70s every day out there. So I was truck camping. I had a truck camper. And so there's like unwritten rules out there on BLM land. And that is you don't come in and park right on top of someone. You give space, right? So the girl camper I was camping with went to this little hidden gem of a place, and I had to swear, almost give it a blood oath, not to tell anybody where it was. So we get up there and we had a nice dinner together, and I could see her RV from the window of mine, and there was another one, and we met him. We all had dinner together, and then everybody went to bed. It was winter, so it's like dark at 5:30. And I don't know, I woke up at like midnight and I hear all the gravel outside of my camper like crunching. Like just someone was walking around outside. And I was like, holy cow. Like I was just like, normally in my own camper at home, I have wasp spray, and I have a screechy thing. But anyway, I didn't have any of that because I was in a rental one. And I just kind of sat very still, and I didn't want to look out the window, but I waited for it to go away, and it did. And 2 hours later, my heart returned to normal, and I was able to fall back asleep. But in the morning, I was telling the two people I was camping nearby what happened. And this man said to me, "Oh, that was me. I was walking my dog." And I'm like, why would you be walking your dog around my camper? Like in the middle of the night, you scared the daylights out of me. So I knew from the crunching that it was not a small animal. It was, anyway. So, but honestly, I have never had any like another time in Texas, I was at a campground and it was off season and I was kind of by myself, and it was on a river site, but it was gated and locked, so I wasn't worried about it. But again, I heard something going on outside my camper, and when I woke up in the morning, the campground had not cleaned out the garbage cans, and the turkey buzzards were having it. Every critter within 5 miles was there, and I saw all the garbage, and well, that's what was going on in the middle of the night. But your mind plays tricks on you in the middle of the night. Like, so I'm on a river and I'm thinking, well, the campground's gated, but the river isn't. Someone is, rowing down the river in the middle of the night, saw my camper, But it's all like the boogeyman playing with you at night. I have to remind myself over and over, statistically, camping is like the safest vacation you can have.
It is, but you're so right. Once it gets dark outside, all bets are off. Logic is
I know,
gone.
I know, I know. And that's cool. Like when we're camping with all the girl campers and there's, a dozen of us at the campground, I don't, God bless the person who would try to mess with one of them because that would be not pretty. These women would come out of nowhere with broomsticks and tasers and, so I never even think about it when I'm with a crowd or, but it is when you find yourself in a kind of remote area and then the boogeyman comes out. But I intellectually, I tell myself all the time, nothing is going on, Janine. It's in your head. But you just got to work through it.
Yes, yes. And I love the idea that Girl Camper has someone. Is it each state that you have a group of women that can go out
Well,
together?
we have girl camper guides and we
Okay.
have 30 of them now. We're about to bring on about a half a dozen more. And our goal is to have the entire country covered with a girl camper guide. And I mean, I could do that tomorrow if we didn't care about who was doing it, but we're very picky about who our guides are. All of our guides are like dedicated to mentoring women. Like our goal with these things is not events per se, but to be the kind of people who can help someone. So if you go on the Girl Camper Facebook group, often we read the same post. You girls are having so much fun. I'm here watching you. I want to do this. I'm starting to feel brave. I think I can do it. And so that's our goal, like to just be the person like who will hold your hand and have your back. And I mean, I grew up in a camping family. I was towing my parents' pop up when I was 15 and a half on a permit. And like, I didn't have a fear of towing, but I had other fears. I had fear all the time that the camper was going to pop off the ball. Like, what if that happens? And I just had to mechanically learn all of the things and to understand that the likelihood of that, if I've done everything correctly and am smart and work off a checklist and don't be distracted when you're hitching up, very rare. So I've got the ball, the hitch on the ball. I've got a safety there. I've got a weight distribution hitch. I've got chains. I've got an anti-sway bar. A lot of things would have to fail for this, to come off. And once you have that knowledge, you have peace of mind, right? And that's what our guides do. They have often been at the campground at 3 o'clock on a Sunday because they're still helping a newbie pack up and feel confident and get back on the road before they go home themselves. So eventually we'll have the whole country covered, but we take training for guides very seriously. And it's really like emotional training. It's a little Dear Abby and a little mechanical, so eventually we'll get there, but right now we have about 30 guides and they host events and help women to come into the circle and take a seat around the campfire and encourage them.
I love to hear that. And it's just so fantastic. I know that you have a big group and a group for each state. What if people on here haven't plugged into Girl Camper? What would that process be?
Well, it's really easy. So we have a lot of ways to connect with Girl Camper. We have a Facebook group that it's got like 450,000 people on it. I think there's 200 new posts per day on that site. So if you go to and join that Facebook group, and let's just say there's a topic like towing or whatever, you could search that on there and read all the posts related to that. It's a great resource. So we have that, but then we have a really great website that we just revamped again. It's always being tweaked. We have 250 episodes of the Girl Camper podcast. I quit doing the podcast when I started Girl Camper magazine. And so we have the magazine, we have our website, we have the podcast, we have each of our groups have individual Facebook pages. So if you're a girl camper in Iowa, you can join our Iowa or, New Jersey Facebook group and connect with the people in your area.
I love to hear it. I'm going to go join mine after this.
Well, we have
Especially,
lots of full timers. It's really interesting, because they will want to connect. They'll often belong to many of the Facebook groups, depending on where their travels are taking them. And we say all the time at work, there's no wrong way to camp like a girl. So we don't care if you're full time, part time, weekending it in your minivan that you took the seats out of and put a cot in because you don't have a camper. Like, we don't want anyone to think that you need an Airstream or some great rig. We get to campouts, and it's so fun to see what everybody's camping in, from old vintage VWs and Westphalias to people with an SUV that a tent attaches to the back of, car campers, hammock hangers. And then we say, if you don't have any of that, just rent a cabin at the campground and join us. Talk to people, get to know, like, where are you going? Where are you staying? How much is it costing you? What do you like about your rig? What do what's a mistake you made that you could share? And what happens around that campfire is a lot of people's fears are getting ticked off. Oh, yeah, I thought this. That's not true, I guess. Okay, I could do that. And so we love seeing that circle happen where women are building other women up.
that's really wonderful. And it's so nice to kind of have that, even that other step. One of the things that I found so helpful when I started was the forums and the Facebook groups. Like you're saying, you cannot live without the forums,
Mm-hmm.
because people have documented every single thing that could go wrong. But it's even better to have someone that's there, that's experienced it, that can show
Mm-hmm.
you. And especially on a maiden voyage, when you're turning on all the spigots and
Mm-hmm.
the weird water is coming out and all
Yeah.
that good stuff.
And it's
uh
30 degrees and you can't get the heater to go on.
yeah, exactly. It's you really need some help in those moments.
Yeah, and
um
that's what we're there to do.
I absolutely love it. And kind of following all of that, and not only boondocking but camping, what is some advice that you would give someone who's for taking their first boondocking journey, whether that be at a harvest host or somewhere else? What would
Mhm.
you tell them?
Well, for me, when I'm boondocking, there's a couple of things. First, I just mechanically, you just want to check everything. You should do that whether you're boondocking or not. Like, so before I pull out, I am always checking my tires. I make sure, mechanically I'm all set to go. But I also, when I'm boondocking, I don't ever, my camper has a 30-gallon fresh water tank. So that's 240 pounds of extra weight if I had the thing completely full. So I always want to have that fresh water tank about half full. I want to make sure I've got the propane running on my refrigerator so that fridge stays cold. I want to make sure I've got plenty of propane in my tanks. I also just make sure that when I get where I'm going, someone knows where I am. Just, a couple of the women I camp with use Life 360 so their family can see where they are. And so I just make sure when I get where I'm going that I'm going to have what I need. My batteries are fully charged, and that you have a backup. You have a flashlight. I was running around a couple of weeks ago and I was going to walk to the bathroom down in North Carolina, and it was really dark at night, and I didn't have a flashlight, and everybody was laughing, saying, don't tell anyone that girl camper doesn't have a flashlight. But I was in my new camper and I hadn't completely stocked it yet. And I was walking to the bathroom with my phone.
I I've done that before. And I totally agree. Make sure you're all up on water. Another thing I tell people, especially when it's your first time, just go.
Mm-hmm.
But try to make sure the weather at night is going to be good enough. But
Yeah.
if people are, a lot of the feedback that I get is, I've never boondocked, and that's why I don't want to stay at a harvest host location. And Yeah, things could go wrong, but you have experienced what can go wrong in a camper already. Even if
Yeah.
you go and you just turn everything off and go to
Mhm.
bed when the sun sets,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well,
You'll just
and
get some more sleep.
the thing about a harvest host too is so you could be at a museum. Like I think the Philadelphia Museum, there's a museum in Philadelphia where you can park in the parking lot there. Now you're in a parking lot out in public. And maybe that feels too vulnerable for you. Maybe you need a few miles under your belt before you try anything like that. But you can look at all the options and go, you know what? I think I want to be at like a winery in which I go in and it's gated and I'm inside and no one can see me from the road. So you get a choice, you can decide, like, okay, I want something that feels a little more secluded for me until I get comfortable with this.
I completely agree with that because a lot of mistakes are going to get made. But the great thing about these locations is you've got the community there. I've never
Mm-hmm.
met a Harvest host that wasn't just so kind and helpful. They would get on their hands and knees and help me change my tire if I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always great. You're meeting good people that you might not normally meet, but they're going to help you out in a pinch. Whereas in a campground, it feels like there are a lot of people around you. And maybe if you suffer from social anxiety or you're just a little bit vulnerable, it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
reach out. But it's just you there in this beautiful wide open space, at connecting with someone you might not have formally connected with. And
Mm-hmm.
9 out of 10 times, they're just going to be the best person you ever meet.
I agree. I mean, the whole camping community, I think, is made up of people who are very, very generous. I mean, I've been at campgrounds and at harvest hosts and boondocking things where I pull in, I don't know a soul. And then you end up having dinner with these people, just laughing your heads off, watching the sunset, sharing a glass of wine, exchanging phone numbers, text messaging them a year later saying, hey, I'm going back. Do you want to meet me? And like, you really literally make friends. Like some of the dearest friends I have that I vacation with outside of camping. Just my friend Patricia just went to Ireland with me. Like I met through camping. And, I think of my friend Gail in Ohio. Like we're on the phone and talking all the time. And I only know her. I met her through social media. And now we're like, oh, you're moving, I'll come over and help you pack, even though she lives in Ohio and I'm in New Jersey. Like you bond with people, and it is a community of people that are very generous.
It is, and it's ever growing too, which it's some people like it, some people hate it. Either way, it's happening. Um, and we're seeing more campers than ever before. And not only that, the median has gone down. I believe in 2022, the median age for purchasing an RV jumped down 10 years. I believe that's correct. It was
Yeah.
something crazy like that. So uh, people are getting younger and younger too. It's not so much looked at as a retirement or kind of
Hmm.
an activity you do after you buy the house. Maybe it is the
Right.
house, or it's you have an apartment and the RV.
I do
So
think the
it's
industry has done a great job at that messaging and getting it out there, that and COVID helped all that, it really did. I mean, maybe people who never would have tried it gave it a try because they were going stir crazy, and that cabin fever just reached epic proportions and they were like, let's get out. And they
and you
discover what we already knew. It's great.
It is so great. And it's so nice too. I like you were saying earlier, I I like to break it up a little bit, right? I
Hmm.
I think you're much the same way where I do spend a lot of time in campgrounds. I love to be plugged in. I work from
Hmm.
here. So
Hmm.
I need my electricity, and I don't always want to be a place where I'm running the generator all day
Hmm.
long. So I'm in campgrounds, but on the weekends, man, do I love to get off the grid. And instead of spending money on that camping fee, which I'm more than happy to do during the week, I'm outside. I'm
Hmm.
at Harvest House. And it for all the wine that I purchase at a winery, it might even out. But for some reason for some reason, it doesn't feel like such a
You might have bought that anyway. So I always look at it like, I'm not actually a big wine drinker myself. I'm a vodka girl. If I'm going to have a cocktail, it's probably like a vodka tonic. But I just bought 2 bottles of wine last weekend because I keep them in my house. I always have a gift ready to give. If it doesn't bother me to buy it there, even though I'm not, I'm only an occasional wine drinker, because I'm going to bring a hostess gift. I'm going to serve my own guests when they come to my house. So it's going to get used. It's money I would have spent anyway.
That's such a great point. And something I tell people too, one of the bigger questions we get is, well, what if I don't drink?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't drink a lot either. I just happen to have 5 bottles
Mm-hmm.
of wine from different harvest hosts because I wanted to support the small business.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to a Boondockers Welcome location tomorrow, and I'm gonna give one of the hosts a bottle of
Mm-hmm.
wine from a harvest
Yeah.
host location
Yeah.
as a thank you, because it's just those little touches that make all the difference. And
And I think
I'm
when you get out
excited.
there and you're in one of the Harvest Hosts wineries, you'll find that there's a lot of other stuff in the winery stores besides wine. I mean, I have bought organic soap. I have bought handmade things that local artisans have done. I have bought cutting boards with the name of the winery on it. There's all kinds of other things. I mean, I spent $32 on 2 bottles of wine last weekend and had a lovely night, parked up against the vineyard, just chilling. And, $32, like that's half of what a campsite in New Jersey would cost you.
Absolutely. What kind of on that note, you said you went to a winery. When you're picking our harvest hosts, what do you kind of prioritize as you're looking through attraction wise or
Yeah.
brewery? Like, what are you looking for?
Well, it seems, and don't infer anything like that by this, but it seems like I often end up at wineries. And although I'm fascinated with farms, like I'm always looking at the farms because I love farm life. I love chickens roaming, but just in my area, it seems that there's more wineries available. So for me, I kind of look for a winery that has something going on like maybe Friday or Saturday night. I mean, that's always an added bonus. I mean, it's fun to go there. And often your camper is way over here and the food and the music is over here. So when you've had enough, you can just go. And now someone has fed you and you've had free entertainment, you've met nice people. So I tend to look for something where something is going on.
I that's something that I didn't realize was such a thing until I took my first trip. We went to Summer Crush Winery down in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and we pulled up and they were like, we've got live music tonight, we've got taco
Yeah,
trucks.
there's a party happening. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And now I do kind of like decentralize it more, because then you get to talk. If you're kind of looking to meet new people and chat with new people, there are a bunch of people there at those events. You just don't have to drive home like they do.
You know what I think I want to do, Alyssa? So when the girl campers in my area, like we have a little tribe that we camp with all the time, there's a couple of museums around us. Now, I don't know how comfortable I would be just in a parking lot by myself, but I would love to see if we could get the girls together to, go to some of the museums. And a
That
lot of them offer like a free entrance or a discounted ticket.
that is a fantastic idea, because
Yeah.
then it's not it, so it's not even centered around drinking at that point. If people don't want to be in that space, it kind of allows you to do something different, and we've
Well,
got so many
and they
different
tend to
ones.
be closer to cities. So, like if you went to the Philadelphia Art Museum or whatever the museum is in Philly, you could enjoy that for the day and literally Uber into the city and have fun dinner and Uber back and sleep in. Yeah. So I don't know, all different experiences to be had.
Absolutely, and I love the agritourism, right? So what I love to do is, when I'm messaging, to put in my requests, I
Hmm.
say, hey, I would love to learn a little bit about you and how you got started and set an intention there. Some hosts already are going to want to talk to you, some are a little bit shyer, but just saying in that message, hey, I'd love to chat, I'd love to sit down, and or I'd love to follow you around, I'd love a tour of your facility, whatever you're comfortable with. Just saying that, going the extra mile, people really do open up, and it allows you to meet that person. Or even putting, hey, I'm going to be a little bit tired, I might just want to go to bed after.
Right,
And
right.
that way kind of setting that intention beforehand, I think, has been a great way to make the most of it as well, because then the host kind of knows what's going on, you know what's going on, and you can go grab your wine, all that good stuff, and then either go to bed or hang out.
Yeah.
I see I've got a couple of questions here, or comments. Amy, I always try to be generous in my shopping at a host site. This experience can be beyond compare. Yes, I agree. Patty, I'm trying to stay on topic. Thank you for your comment. Dixie says, I have a request that's been pending for 2 weeks now. Should I reach out to the host or cancel and move on to a different host? Dixie, if you would just shoot us an email at team@harvesthost.com, we can sort that out for you and figure it out. Sometimes hosts just miss things. It might be good to reach back out, shoot them a quick message, but definitely send us an email as well. All right, now on to the program. Put your questions in below. If you have any questions about Harvest Hosts, please let us know. And we're going to ask one more question here and answer any of your questions, and then I think we'll be done for the day. Okay. Janine, what are some essential items or equipment that you recommend to people who are planning to boondock at a Harvest Host location?
Well, I'll tell you what I forgot to bring this weekend, and that was just my pour over coffee pot. So I have a percolator, but I didn't have electric. So I got up in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I have a gas stove and my percolator is electric. So normally I have a pour over coffee. So you got to be able to make coffee. Yeah. And I always make sure, I mean, when you're boondocking, I just always want extra. I want extra blankets, I want to make sure I have that coffee. I just want to make sure I'm going to be comfortable. I have backup things. So, I just make sure when I go that I'm going to be fed and I'm going to be warm.
Yes. If
Cool. Like I have a great electric fan that I got that it's a battery fan, and when you charge it, you can run it for like 24 hours on low, and it just stirs the air up. So, whatever is going to keep you cool or warm, you want to have.
I agree. If your RV were to fail, what would you want to have with you? Because that it could happen. Mandy asks, what are the etiquette/rules for how long you should stay the following day? Mandy, I'll answer, and then Janine, I'll let you answer. There's usually a checkout time. Now, hosts are usually pretty flexible, so you can talk about that with them via message or in person, but there is typically a checkout time listed on the host location. Janine, anything to add there?
Well, I'm usually up. I'm an early bird. I'm usually up and out the door. So, if I'm still hanging around by 10, it would be surprising. But I have found the same thing, that Harvest hosts are wonderful, and just ask them, because sometimes there might be something in the area. I usually don't unhitch, but I might be waiting for something to open that doesn't open till 10 or noon or something. So, just ask. They're always so kind.
That's very true. Sometimes I'll get there a little bit too late, and I got to the Tallahassee Car Museum and it was closed. So we parked, we spent the night, and then it opened at 10 while checkout was at 9. Of course, they were very accommodating there. We bought our tickets, we walked through the museum, and we had a blast. And that's it. Like I said, everyone's very accommodating. Janine has obviously stayed at several before. Jim says a suggestion, it would be nice if there was a search feature for HH reviews. Some hosts have lots of reviews and it would be great to search for specific information like
Mm.
parking and tips. Wow, I totally agree, especially some of the more popular ones that have been on there for years and years. I will send that on to the dev team and let them know that you said that, Jim. Thank you. All right. Other than that, do you have anything closing? Where can we find you,
Well,
Janine?
I
Or
have information for you guys, and that is if you are already a member of Harvest Host, you can get a free 1-year digital subscription to Girl Camper Magazine. It's on your website.
it is. If you're a member, go to your membership's benefits page, you log in, and it should be at the top. You'll see that offer there. I'm going to go claim mine right now, actually.
And the fun thing is when you get it, you get all 13 back issues. So that should keep you reading for a while.
Absolutely. It'll be
And it's
great
full
when
of recipes and destinations and road trips and interesting people. So if you have it on digital, it's great because you can read it when you're at the campground.
I'm here for it. I'm going to get it all on my tablet right now. And we are actually featured in, is it the next issue?
Coming up, yes.
Coming up, our very own Alyssa J, not to be confused with me, went on a road trip solo and she documented her Harvest Host days.
Yes. And it was a great story. We can't wait to share it.
I'm very excited. If you're a member of Harvest Host, go to the member benefits page. If you're a solo female traveler, go ahead and join that Facebook group. And thank you everyone
And
for
you can
joining
read
us.
some of Alyssa's journeys right now on the Girl Camper website. We have a story by Alyssa on the homepage of Girl Camper right now.
All right. I'll throw that in the comments in a second.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Janine, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
It was my pleasure, Alyssa. And it's so fun, touching base with you guys. And I'll keep telling you about all the fun things I do at Harvest House. I got to get all those girls out there.
Absolutely. Let me know. I'll come too.
Okay. The deal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Happy trails.
Happy trails.